Okay, welcome, Jake, to my school community. I understand you're building a SaaS product and you're doing automations for other companies as well. So I'd love to hear about the work that you've been doing. I know you've got a bit of a show and tell for me today, so that'd be great. Do you want to introduce yourself and take it away?
Sure, let's do it. And thanks for having me, Mike. So my background is as a software engineer. I did that for nearly a decade. Last 4 years of that was in Silicon Valley, working for crypto companies. And, my entire career, I've always been interested in AI and automation ever since I can remember. The last 2 years, I really got super into it, basically spent all my free time on it. Started doing some projects here and there for some businesses that wanted to automate their manual processes. And I started my AI agency, and I've been really focused in on recently and in the last few years really on content creation. So a big thing that I do is try to automate all of the annoying pain points around different content creation use cases. And this first SaaS that we have that I'm working on is called WriteZero. And the point of it, the original intention was to try to create a content creation engine for written content. And then I realized a big pain point when I was trying to create Twitter threads was that it takes a really long time for me to go through a YouTube video and repurpose it into a Twitter thread and pull out relevant clips from it. So I was like, well, this seems like it should be doable. I don't see why I can't just have AI generate the relevant clips and actually edit them for me, because it takes, if you've ever done this before, it takes several hours to edit down clips like that, especially for a longer thread. So my whole intention was to be able to focus in on long form video and just focus on having conversations like this one. And all of, my vision is to take, all of these conversations and just passively create content from them, so you don't have to do anything, and you have sort of content creation co-pilot helping you with everything.
Welcome to AI for Business. This is from my school community, AI for Business Showcases. This video segment showcases real-world automation solutions from our featured developer. So if you're looking to transform your work and business with new AI solutions and ideas, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. I love the idea. As somebody that makes content, I totally get it as well. So there's something called Opus Clip where it takes a video and it takes little segments out of it. It's a bit very hit and miss, I find. But what your system is doing is it's actually providing the text content as well, and following on thread from thread. So it's one post in and then another follow-on relevant post in after that. And I'm particularly interested in if it can do it for LinkedIn posts.
Yep. So yeah, right now it's able to create here. I'll go ahead and show off the user interface. So let me zoom this in. So right now, something you're able to do is just paste in YouTube videos here in the content, and it will instantly grab the transcript and you can do things like ask for a summary. We can go into regular mode here and have it, create a LinkedIn post based on the video. That won't have clips. The only way to get clips right now is in thread mode, and then you have this little create clips option here. So I've gone ahead and created AI explains GPT-5 has arrived video. I've created a thread out of that. I just gave it instructions of create a thread of 5 posts centered around the video. Another thing we could have done was added an example thread here. We just paste in the URL of another thread, and it will follow the style and structure of that. It'll even get down into if it uses numbered lists or bullet points, it'll follow that as well.
How long's the video on that one?
This video I believe is 15 minutes long. But you could get up to, I've tested this with 6 hours long YouTube videos. So it's probably not going to work quite so well if you use something that long, but it theoretically could handle it.
How good is it at finding relevant clips then? Because my experience and using a similar tool is Opus Clip, and as good as that is, it really is hit or miss on whether it picks anything up that's decent or not, and that's out of a short video, let alone a long video.
Yeah, so it works best if you have a specific thing in mind that you're looking for. So if you tell it, I want all of the moments, I want to make a thread out of this where it's like a list style, that would work well. So it'd be like find 10 times 10 quotes that work well from this video, or create a thread about going into detail about all of the ideas that were mentioned in this Startup Ideas podcast episode. And then it will go and find those ideas, create the actual text here, and then it will pull out the videos that relate to whatever is said in that actual thread post.
So the actual point in the video, it makes a clip of exactly that particular bit.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And it's decent. It's definitely not on the level of like a human editor yet, but I think for the purposes of being able to just quickly repurpose content, it's quite useful, and it still saves you many hours if you were going to have to go do this yourself. So you might need to adjust the clips a little bit with the start and end times right now.
Yeah. So it's an assisted approach to AI. And do you have? I think I saw that you've got an ability to change the clip, edit the clip in there, so it pulls out a segment which is roughly around about where it is, but then you can go and fine tune it yourself, which is awesome.
Exactly. So I have this this temporary interface right now that I'm trying to improve. But
the free tier, I've tested it a bunch, read the system card in full, and even sat through that full live stream. Wow. But actually, I think it's pretty huge that free users of ChatGPT will get access to GPT-5. In other words, approaching 1 billion people will experience a significantly more intelligent AI model.
There it is, yeah.
So we could cut off that last part.
More intelligent AI model.
There we go. And then once we have it the way we like it, we can download all these clips, and we can also edit the text here if we don't like it. If you don't give it any instructions or any example for what the thread should look like, it's going to give you maybe not the best results here. Something I'm working on fine tuning, but for just to get started, it's not bad at all. I've noticed that GPT-5 is actually really good at following instructions when it comes to generating stuff like this.
Yeah, so do you want to tell me, is that what model are you using, and what's the advantage of it? Why not use Gemini if you're actually pulling from YouTube videos, Gemini being Google's AI, YouTube being a Google company, they not integrate better? Have you thought about Claude for the text rather than GPT? Or OpenAI GPT?
Yeah, so I'm still testing with a bunch of different models right now. This one that you're seeing here is from Gemini 2.0 Flash. That one's just because it's the fastest. It's super quick. It gives you back the posts for the thread like instantly. But when I test it with GPT-5, I get better results, but it takes several minutes for it to generate. And then I haven't tested extensively with Claude, but I imagine it gives you pretty good results. So that's going to be the next thing that I test.
So at the moment, you think ChatGPT 2.5 Flash is faster than? I mean, there's another offer you could use. Is it GPT-4 Turbo or something? Might be. Is that equally as quick, or is that?
Yeah, so they have
models.
They have
GPT-5
Mini and Nano as well, which I've been testing. Those are it's like the trade-off, right? They if you want faster versus more thinking, if you have a complex long video and you're asking it to create kind of like a really specific type of thread and follow the example, then something like GPT-5 you might benefit from the extra couple minutes spent on trying to follow all those instructions well. So that's something that I'm still trying to nail down, is like when to use which models. I'd say that's probably one of the biggest challenges when it comes to these kind of automations is knowing when it for the price, the speed, and then the effectiveness is like balancing that which model to use when.
Well, not only that, but they change all the time as well. I mean, you use a model and then that model is the model, but then there's new models coming out all the time. And as far as understanding, something like ChatGPT 5 is the new more more advanced model, and then you've got like ChatGPT 4 Turbo, which is a quicker model and a trimmed down model. That's fair enough, but then it's the comparison between, well, what about Gemini 2.5 Flash versus ChatGPT 4 Turbo, or so it's the models across different brands that I find is always the challenge of understanding, well, which company's model do I use? And they're changing all the time. So sometimes GPT is the best coding model, but then Claude will come out with a new update, and now Grok are saying they're the best coding model, and it's changing monthly almost.
Yeah. The thing one of the big takeaways on this point is I like to use OpenRouter now. So whenever I start a new project, I always start off with using OpenRouter. So as opposed to just, deciding to go with Gemini or GPT or OpenAI's models or vice versa, or any of the other frontier models, I can just say, okay, let me be able to switch this. Let me add in the ability to switch this on demand. So like right now, because I'm an admin, I can swap to whatever model I want. I can see like the prices here for the tokens.
Okay.
So we could test this right now with pretty much any of these
models. So OpenRouter is a service that allows you to switch out models in your build. So you've got an API to that service, and then it gives you that ability to switch.
That's exactly
Good
right.
idea.
Yeah. So yeah, for me to be able to switch which model I'm using for, let's say, the free trial tier of my app right now, it doesn't require any code changes. I can just instantly switch which one.
You doing anything around the prompt engineering to test? Because there's two elements to this, isn't there? There's the model, and then there's also the prompt. And then it's like the amount of variables between the two, because you can do the prompt in so many different ways and in so many different variables, and it's like exponentially number of... it's hard to make a decision because there's exponentially different variations between prompt and models.
Yes, yeah. So that's kind of why I built this interface the way I did, is so I could rapidly test out different models and different prompts here. I used to have, I basically used to use Prometheus in the early days, messing around when I was fine tuning all of the prompts, and then started to just build that into my admin testing, so I could do that without having to rely on any other platform, and then I could see. Directly how during development, I could see directly how it was going to affect, how the prompt was going to affect the actual outputs. So yeah, that's one thing is when it comes to prompt engineering, you just want to have a setup where you can test individual tweaks. Something I noticed is that here's the list of priorities is. Or the big mistakes when it comes to managing context for prompt engineering is not having any extra context, not having any data. Like you will have much better results if you give it an example, and you give it more context on what you want. Then the next mistake after that, like this is in order of priority, the next mistake would be giving bad data. Like if you give it bad context, you don't want to give it the wrong instructions, otherwise you're going to get really bad results. And then after that, the next mistake would be giving it too much context. So you will actually get worse results if you end up giving it way too much. If you use up too many tokens in your prompt, you're using way too much context. Like if you give it too many instructions or too many conflicting instructions, it'll start. Like if I paste in an entire book and then I say, go do something with this, you're going to get pretty bad results because you end up, you end up butting up to the limits of the context window for these models.
So
which every day
known
is
as
getting better.
Lost in the middle.
Yeah. So needle in the haystack type problems.
It makes sense because I always think of it as if you just had a really intelligent staff member or assistant with you, and you were to tell them, obviously if you don't give them any example whatsoever, they've got full creativity to come back with something, but if you might not be exactly what you want. So if you're quite sure about what you want, then tell the AI. The second thing is, don't give them the wrong instructions, the wrong context. And the third thing is, if you just baffle them with lots and lots of different information and it's not specific, then it gets confusing. So, just in the same way as you were dealing with a person, just
exactly.
AIs, yes, they're a machine and they're super intelligent. I sometimes think we can get quite lazy thinking, oh, the AI will handle this. I'll just throw everything in. But the reality is you wouldn't do that to a person. You would try and be specific with them and give them the time to actually explain what you want. So you need to treat the AI system in the same way.
Yeah, I actually find that to be a really good analogy. I think about context windows, the amount of tokens that you can use in the context windows is similar to like a human's working memory. So you don't want to like flood somebody's working memory.
Their attention span.
Yeah, there's only so much that you can hold in your head. And these models are the same. I mean, albeit they're superhuman in that regard, but they still have limitations. And they are, the context window sizes of these models is doubling every so often, every few months or whatever it is. But it's still pretty apt analogy, I find, to think about it as like treat the prompt like you're giving it to a person. Like, what is all of the context that would help a person do this?
How do you get around it with this product that you've created then? Because if you're putting in a 2-hour video, that is a massive amount of tokens. That's effectively, just in layman's terms, that means lots and lots and lots of words that's been extracted from the audio and tokenized. So you've got the prompt, this is what I want, and here's some examples. So you've got the context, and then you've got 2 hours worth of text data to put in. So that is a humongous prompt.
Yeah, it's a massive prompt, and I've done all of the efforts I can to try to cut it down. But honestly, the biggest thing for me was just cutting it into multiple stages. So I'll do the thread posts before I'll do the actual clip editing. And then I'm leaning quite heavily on the fact that these models have gotten quite good at managing on the order of, like, let's say 4,000 to 16,000 tokens is light work for a lot of these frontier models now, especially Gemini with I think it has 1 million token context window. So as long as I will say, if you butt up against the I try to keep it way under their actual context window size, because if you get up into, I was testing with like some of the earlier models when I first started that had a token context window size of like 4,000 or 8,000. If you use all of those tokens in that context window, then you are not going to get good results, is what I found. You definitely don't want to be anywhere near the actual limit, and you do have to remember that it's a lot of times it's including the input and the outputs as the context window. So it needs to have all of what it's already generated in its working memory, as well as all of the inputs that you gave it. So you have to add those two together, and that's the amount of space you have to work with.
Okay, yeah, interesting. I mean, this does not sound like an easy build at all. So how long have you been working on this? How many hours you put into it, do you think?
So it's been off and on over the past 10 months or so, I think it has been. And I'd say I put in around, it'd be hard to estimate, but probably like 160 hours on this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's less than I thought, actually.
Yeah. I'd say most of my progress is from like, I'm a sprinter. So like most of my progress is from like a few weeks where I like just sat down and prioritized this. That's how I
focused on it. Yeah. Yeah. I really like the idea. I really want something like this for making LinkedIn clips. But I suppose that once you've made this for Twitter, X, apart from, does it automatically upload to X? I guess there'll be a download option, and then after that,
yeah, right. Right now you have to download it and post it yourself.
Okay,
it shouldn't be too much extra work. The X API is just not great. I don't want to get into that, but it's going to take, that's one of the things I'm working on next, is to be able to just one-click post to X.
Would you open it up to, I mean, it's interesting that you chose an X of all, but it would have more utility for people if you made it available for all of the platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn. I mean, I'm talking about LinkedIn because I personally would have a really good use case for this, and I would really like to use it for LinkedIn. But the other side of me thinks that that's where the business people are, and those are the people with money who might be willing to spend on this. So you might want to think about making it less focused on X and more of a generalist tool, or maybe making a second version focus just a LinkedIn version. This is the X version.
Yeah. So the whole vision was to eventually support everything as like a general purpose content creation engine, and I focused in on X because that was just what I had the most experience with. But yeah, the next stop is going to be LinkedIn. I'm going to focus pretty heavily on implementing that, and this is all part of my broader vision of creating a content creation co-pilot, which is an agent that will help you, kind of like an Iron Man suit, you know, for content creators. Instead of replacing all human content creators with AI content creation, enabling humans to just have conversations like we are now, and it automatically and proactively and collaboratively is creating content for those humans, and with those humans, not for, but with.
Yeah, I love the idea. Yeah, because obviously the fun part of making content is these conversations, and then the drag is having to do the editing, find the clips, and then put them out on the post, and then checking the replies on the post, and everything else. I suppose, I mean, a lot of people hire an editor at that point, but a lot of people don't have the money to hire an editor. And even with, you know, even if you do have an editor, this is an assisted technology at the moment, so you could get more done, and the editor can add the final bit of creation onto it. But this is just something that really gets you most of the way there before.
Yep.
Most of the way there, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm working closely with my brother on a lot of stuff, which is, he's a video editor and videographer. He works with like Disney and Universal, and he, you know, we still both agree that like human editors are just strictly better, in terms of the quality of outputs right now. But I think that over time, these systems are going to get better and better at giving you exactly what you want. But I still see a lot of editing as more of an art than a science.
Yeah.
So there is that component to it. But I just wanted to kind of create all of the things that are manual and repetitive and draining for creative type people that just want to have conversations and play around with ideas. I wanted to create all the tools that would allow them to be able to just focus on that stuff that energizes them, and not have to worry about, you know, going through a video or a recording that they had of a conversation they had, and pulling out ideas and finding the relevant clips from their conversation. So I wanted that all to just be instantly accessible at your fingertips.
I love the idea, and it, to me, that sounds like a difficult thing to build, which you've obviously done a fantastic job with. Would you be willing to show some of the back end at all, or the technology that you've used, or do you want to keep that secret?
Maybe we can go into that next time. I could go into it pretty deeply if you'd like. My plan is to
just
share.
For now, though, is it what exactly are you using to code it? Are you using any low code tools, or?
Yeah, sure. So pretty much, I'd say a majority of my builds I'll be using Cursor, and I really enjoy using Cursor with agent mode. And recently, I've been using GPT-5 mostly. But in the past, I'd say most of this build was done with Claude Sonnet 4 and 3.7 and 3.5. So yeah, those are great tools. I'd say Claude Code is another one, but those are both kind of more developer focused tools. They're a lot easier to use if you're already a very technical person. I believe Cursor's doing a great job though of making it like more accessible. It's pretty straightforward. So I try to teach people how to go straight into Cursor, like even if you're not as technical, because it just gives you more flexibility. And if you can learn how to use the tool there, then you're almost just as powerful as a long-term developer.
Thanks for watching this segment from my school community. If you want the full hour, join the AI for Business school community, where we meet every week and have showcases of how developers are implementing AI solutions for businesses, helping you to discover new ways to automate and innovate in your business processes. Head over to learnmanagementonline.com to find out more.